Hi, I'm Rasheed, Ogunlaru, coach, speaker, author. Here we are heading into the festive period, and I want to talk a little bit about with coping with Christmas and cutting the cost of Christmas financially. I want to talk about it in terms of emotionally cutting the cost as well, those headaches that you have, and also physically, in terms of the indulgence. I want to talk about those three things. Let's first of all talk about cutting the cost financially. I mean, the first thing I want to say here is decide a budget that you can afford and stick to it. If money is tight, then there is no point you getting in debt for one day of the year. So it might be that you set up a gifts amnesty with friends and family or what have you. Or in my family, what we do is we only buy gifts for the young kids and so on. Because what's the point? Otherwise, the adults don't need it. They've had plenty of stuff. And it might even be that you need to, it might even be that you make a decision that you're not going to spend money on each other, that you're just going to spend time with each other, whatever. Just decide whatever is right. But be clear, what's the budget that you can afford and stick to it. So that's cutting the financial cost. Next is cutting the emotional cost. We know that there can be lots of headaches involved in Christmas. And I think that the first thing I want to talk about there is kind of communication. There can be all sorts of stress and headaches, friends, family, historic rivalries and all the rest of it, expectations. So one of the best things to do is just decide, first of all, who you want to spend time with and who could value from some of your time. Sometimes if you have a large family, if you're newlywed, if there's all sorts of themes in the family, then this is going to consider some care, but you need to be mindful of you and mindful of others too. So I think that my tip here is really how much time is nourishing for those key people in your life for you to actually spend together. Everyone's different. In my family, for example, we love each other very dearly, but I see them on Christmas Day, and we're very loving, intense kind of family. More than 5 hours, we're all going to start getting on each other's nerves. So just decide how much time you can actually spend with everybody, and then communicate that very early on. I think that often the problems emerge that we don't have that communication. The earlier you can have that conversation, the better. So that's one thing in terms of about cutting out the headaches. The other thing I want to say about cutting out the headaches is that avoid arguments, avoid the stress, don't go there. Sometimes if the argument's about to flare up, then stand back or go for a walk, have a rest. You don't need to necessarily respond. Don't get involved. Will be my tip there, and just to wish everybody well. Recognise that everybody can have all sorts of expectations and so on. So that's my tip there in terms of cutting the emotional cost of Christmas, which is about communication, and it's about that time when you need to rest or to step back. And actually sometimes it might well be just you going for that walk. It can be often what can happen at the end of this year is that people can feel tired, they can feel ill, you've got, it comes to a culminating point or culminating day or meal or what have you. So the more mindful you can be about that, the more it is that you can offset that early on. So that's that. Finally, last but by not least, is cutting the physical cost. Again, know what your limits are when it comes to food and when it comes to drink. Probably the turkey, the food, the nut roast is going to be there the next day. Don't put more on your plate than you can actually manage. If you're going out socially and so on, be responsible. Of course, do not do anything like drinking and driving, and just be mindful about yourself and how it is you're going to take care of yourself. How are you going to get home? What really works for you? Do you really need to have that extra slice of cake or that extra slice of turkey? Really do be mindful about that. But at the same time, do allow yourself to have a good time. It will be this time of year that you know that you're going to enjoy a couple of meals or nights out, but just be mindful of yourself and know what your limits are, and if need be, put particular plans in place. Think about how it is you're going to get home, where it is that you're going to stay, and so on, so that you are safe and sound. Apart from that, I just want to wish you all the best for the rest of this year and for the year ahead. So remember, that's about cutting the financial cost, cutting the emotional cost, and cutting the physical cost. Set a budget and stick to it. When it comes to the emotional side, decide who you're going to spend some time with, communicate that very early, wish everybody the best and step away from arguments to avoid the stress, and have time out, time in nature, which is going to clear your head when you need to. And don't eat or drink to excess. Know what your limits are and stick to it. Otherwise, have a wonderful, wonderful time. See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.